Hi, I'm Iris Bolling.
And I'm MidnightAce.
I'm Cara Parker Mars.
Welcome to Well, There You Go, a weekly discussion on books, hooks, and courts, where we give our views on reads, music, and wine. So let's get started with
Well, there you go.
Well, hello, everyone. Hi, and welcome back to our podcast. Well, there you go. Today, we are talking about a much needed discussion. It is such a powerful topic that we feel like it's going to take more than one recording to do it. So stay tuned for afterwards how we're going to fill you in on some more stuff. But ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce who's in the room. Because
before you introduce us, can we have something other than MsPrissy's head? Thank you, MsPrissy. You have such a beautiful face. We want to be able to see it. Okay.
So with that said, let's go with Miss Cara Parker, better known as MsPrissy. Say hello to our audience, MsPrissy.
Hello, audience. Welcome back for another session.
We're doing something a little bit different this season, guys, and it's been so far very informative. So I hope you stick around for the whole season because we got some surprises for you. But next in the room we have is Miss Iris Bolling, USA best-selling author.
Hey, everyone. Come on in. We're going to be talking about different kinds of books today.
And I am your host today, Midnight Ace. I am your book ambassador and your custom creator for Midnight Ace Book Bar. Welcome, and so glad you decided to spend a little time with us. Today, you guys, we are talking about the Black dollar.
Money.
Boom, boom, boom. And so if I could just kick it off with this, I have been reading. It's a lot to take in, and this is going to be a learning experience for myself. So bear with us. I don't have like a whole bunch of a catalog of information, but I will say two things. One thing I will say that it has been stated that the Black dollars is worth about 1.7 or 1.8 billion dollars.
Let's try that again. We are in the trillions.
Trillions. Okay, so see,
it says that. I looked it up because I knew we was going to be doing this show. And one of the things that we found is that the Black dollar value in our economic system is anywhere from 1.7 to $2 trillion.
Okay.
A year. Hold up. A year.
Wow.
Let's say that again. Our dollars, it's powerful. Our dollars is powerful. And sometimes we don't use it to the best of our ability, because what happens is, oh Lord, did I say trillion? I want to make sure I said trillion. Did I say trillion?
You just said it now.
Let me make sure, because I want to read this right. Black Americans have 1.3 to 2 trillion in purchasing power. Y'all, stop and think about that. Trillion. Midnight said million, then I said billion.
I said billion.
Wrong.
Yeah.
We're both wrong. The Black Americans have 1.3 to 2 trillion in purchasing power. That's what we have in the Black community.
Yes.
Now, here's the sad part. It stays in our community, and I want to give these stats because I do believe in giving people stats. So the stats show that Black communities dollars stay within the Black community for 6 hours.
6 hours, yes.
The Jewish communities dollars stay in the Jewish communities from 17 to 20 days. listen, y'all, we have jumped from hours to days. Okay.
Mm.
The Asian community Asian community dollars stay in the Asian community for 28 days.
Mhm.
And the white community dollars stay in the white community for 17 days. I think that we need to understand the power of the black dollar.
Of our
That
dollars.
is why I felt like this conversation was very important for us to have a discussion on. And I want to start it with Greenwood. Everybody here knows Greenwood, Tulsa, Oklahoma, Black Wall Street.
Black Wall Street, that's right.
They gave us the blueprint.
Truly,
They gave us the blueprint. And we haven't followed the blueprint.
Nope.
The reason that you know how powerful Greenwood was because they burnt it down.
Right.
They had to destroy it. Here's what's so funny, guys. You know how they always say, they flip it about it. You know, when they said it, go to your own community. You know, you go into certain stores, we don't sell your kind of food. Go to your own community. Well, we went to our own community. We built our own community. We had banks. We had hotels in there. They had grocery stores. Yep. They had restaurants. You know, they had schools. Everything. They had that within their own community. And some of our other folks could not stand the fact that they was as successful as they were. And this is not the only time that it has happened. Nope. Anytime we go and we start building in our own community, they find a reason to break it up. Mostly is gentrification.
Burning up.
Gentrification is what they use now. So they don't want to be as blatant as go and set everything on fire, like what they did there. And then they do it in a different way. And they always come and they want to put a highway in. Oh, this highway is going to allow access to this and that and that and that. And it always is at the expense, usually, of a Black community.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You guys see what I'm saying? So in some ways, we have been fighting an uphill battle that even when we do succeed, they try to find a way to tear it down.
Mm-hmm.
To tear it down.
That's just like Black farmers as well.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that. Here's funny, guys. Let me tell you what really put me on this train. We was having a discussion. The three of us was having a discussion about buying meats. Do you guys remember this?
Mm-hmm.
We was having a discussion about buying meats. I need a fan or something on it. Here it's hot as dickens. Anyway, we was having a discussion about buying meats and vegetables, remember? And we talked about the Black ranch in California. Lord, I forgot the name of them. Branch.
Oh, yeah.
Branch. I think it's Branch. It was the Branch Ranch in Action, California. And
was that Black owned though? You was just
they are Black. They are Black owned.
You talking about the one with the calendar, right?
Yes, they have their own calendar.
You know, they have
their farmers, Black farmers, and everything. They're the ones that do the vegetables.
Right.
But you came up with Ferguson farmers who does the meats, do the different meats.
Right.
Because I was telling you guys how I purchase my meats and they ship to me, once a month. I don't go to the grocery stores and buy my meats. So I was saying, okay, I want to do the same thing with my vegetables. Now, MsPrissy hasn't gotten on to this with us, but Midnight and I start our own vegetable gardens and we start doing, some of our own things. We're going to bring MsPrissy along with her bears and everything.
Yes.
But what we're trying to do is we're trying to give some ideas on how you can keep that $1.3 to $3 trillion, at least some percentage of it, filtering through the Black community. That's what we're going to try to do.
So,
just give you some ideas on how this can be done. Go ahead, Midnight.
So I wanted to say this. Yes, we have the blueprint. Yes, we have ideas that work and can be implemented without too much fanfare.
Mm-hmm.
But none of this will happen if we don't change our mindset. Our mindset is what's keeping us from doing that. We were talking about this just earlier with Shay, and it's like how many times have we said, even in our own stuff, how we move in silence? We move in silence because there's people out there that don't like to share information. There's people out there that gatekeep.
Yes.
And if you even go beyond that, let's just talk about how we were brought up. We were brought up with not education on finances, or generational wealth was shielded from us because we didn't have the same opportunities. Now, we all know we didn't have the same opportunity as some of our counterparts, but there was always ways around it.
Right.
And we can do it, but again, it's our mindset, because if you put your mind to anything, you can do it, right?
Yeah. I had to give you some applause on that one, Midnight.
Yeah. And we have to do it because
the crab in the barrel mentality.
Exactly. And that's not somebody else's thing.
No more than me.
Right. But that's not somebody else's that's bringing that on. That's ourselves doing that.
Right. Yeah, that's each individual person has the power to change their mindset. Let's be very clear on that. But ours have been generational.
Yeah.
Yes.
Our mindset has been generational. We grew up thinking that. I'm gonna give you guys a perfect example. At Midnight, you're gonna understand this because you use suppliers.
Mm-hmm.
So the actively Black people, and I don't know if it's another name to them, but it's actively Black. So they do T-shirts and clothing and different things, right? Well, they use a Black-owned carton provider in order to do their T-shirts, right? And I cannot help but support that Black designer,
exactly,
who's doing those T-shirts for people, and they are using a Black cotton supplier in order to do that. So right now we want to talk a little bit. I want to talk a little bit about that circle of life,
right?
That circle of life for that Black dollar.
Yes.
Because when I purchase from that Black designer then has to pay that Black supplier and their Black workers in order to get that product done, right? And so that dollar, that $20 that I spent on that shirt, I'm sure the shirt is not $20. I'm just using that as an example. But that $20 that I spent on that shirt, I know it's going to last more than 6 hours in the Black community, because I'm passing my little $20 on to that Black designer, right? And then that Black designer is passing it on to that Black supplier. And then that Black supplier is paying his Black workers. That Black designer is paying his Black workers. So that's the circle that we're trying to get people to change their mindset on. Now, they will say, well, suppose I don't like that Black designer's design. You may not, but the thing about it is we can wear T-shirts where we pay $100 for a T-shirt just because it has
somebody else's name on it.
And we spend $20 for that T-shirt, and that Black designer can make that exact same T-shirt but have actively Black on it, right?
And or they have better quality
because it's 100% cotton, right?
Right.
So, but we will go and we will spend that $100 for that T-shirt from that white designer, and then fuss because we got to pay $50 for the T-shirt from the Black designer. Why is that? Do we think for some reason that the because it's a white designer who designed it, and they're putting their monies back into white suppliers 9 times out of 10. That their thing is going to be better simply because it's by a white designer or by white people or whatever.
And the thing is that we also too, what we do is just from that example right there. Say you have a black designer and then you have a white designer, and I'm just let me just talk from the craft world, okay? Mm-hmm. So for me, I make t-shirts, right? So and then there's a lot of people out there to do the same thing, but I can charge one thing for my t-shirt, and then you'll scoff at that and try to bring it down, or you try to discount me or say, can you give me one shirt for free, or I can't really afford that. You'll try to negotiate with me, but when you go to that other crafter, you just going to click the link and buy it because you like it, because they're not going to talk to you about that. They're going to say, if you want it, you buy it, right?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I think, and I think, I'm just going to say for me, I've probably been guilty of that.
Oh,
I've probably been guilty of that too.
Well, economics has us in a place where we all going to be guilty at that in something. But if we're mindful of it in other things, maybe we can get it to start balancing off a little bit. Midnight, let's use you for an example. You made me a journal. You made me a journal. This journal, it's not a journal. What's it called? A planner. A planner, right? Anywhere else, a planner like this that is specific to what I needed my planner to be, it will cost you 50, 60, 70. It would go up. The price would go up for this. And we will go out here, we will go to Michael's, or what's that, the Hallmark store,
mm-hmm.
or
even online,
Target's online, Walmart, Amazon. We would go out there and we won't have no qualms about spending that $100 to get this type of planner that I have here, right? Right. But as soon as Midnight put $100 price on this planner, you're gonna have a problem with that because it's coming from Midnight Ace and it's not coming from Amazon, or it's not coming from Hallmark, or it's not coming from whoever sell journals, SD, or whoever sell journals. But I'm gonna say it to Midnight, and I know. I said, look, Midnight, I love you, but don't beat me over the head with the price. Mm-hmm. But Midnight has to price her items and what it's gonna cost her to do this. And I want y'all to see this is not a little bitty, planner. I want y'all to see my writing because I got some notes up in there. But I mean, she had this was made specifically for my needs and the way that I need that planner to be. But Midnight has to go to suppliers that may not necessarily be Black, because the equipment needed to make this planner, we may not have a Black person that's doing the little cool things on the end, or Black company that's doing that, or a Black company that's doing this paper the way that we need it to be done. So maybe one of the things we need to do is let's look at the supply and demand side of things.
Yeah,
maybe that's the way to go about it. And
that's true.
You can speak to this better than I can because you actually work in this.
Yeah. It is difficult. Not difficult. It's challenging to find a supplier, especially when you're a small business person. Now, if you run in a whole conglomerate of doing nothing but journals or nothing but one thing, you're more likely to find somebody that can supply you at a good price. But for me, being a small business person, number one, sometimes I can't always buy bulk. And that's the thing too. You can't always buy bulk, so you buy just enough what you need to complete an order sometimes, and that's not cost effective. So you can't give your customer, that discounted price, right?
But
But the
let's
thing,
talk about that though.
Mhm.
Why is it that you're not able to buy in bulk? Let me not getting into your bank account.
Mhm.
This is my question. Some businesses, they're able to go and get loans that will allow them to have the financial means in order to purchase supplies, equipments, and things of that nature in bulk, which we
Yeah.
know is a bigger cost to that, right?
Yeah.
So they're able to go to banks and get loans in order to sustain their business until they really get on their feet and have things going. Unfortunately, in our community, we can't do that.
Yeah, and there's some challenges with that too. And there's things that you can do, like you can go to and I've joined this before. It just wasn't advantageous for me at the time. But you got black commerce businesses that just work with black businesses.
Right.
And if to me, it seemed like you needed to be at a certain level in order to get the benefits of that. And I wasn't there yet because I was just starting out. But
What
those are
about the Women's Small Business Administration?
Not, sometimes it all depends. It all depends on your business, and
yeah,
sometimes
That's true. That's true.
even with that, you can't go out there and get um a business loan that easily. MsPrissy, what would $100,000 would have done for your music business if you had that at hand?
right.
What about right now? Now
Well,
you're doing Cayjarwes. What would a $50,000 drop, a $50,000 influx of income? What would that do for Cayjarwes right now?
that would allow us to have the applications, to work with that we need without having to nickel and dime
Nickel and
and
dime.
search, for, all applications don't work the same. They might do similar of the same things, but one has a better quality. You get a better production from, So everything we do at Cayjarwes, at least, requires precision with the application we're working with.
So you need
And
the best applications that's out
Mhm.
there, and you need unlimited access to that application.
right.
And so unfortunately for us, we come in as the underdog every time.
Yeah.
But just like with Greenwood, what did Greenwood do? They established their own financial network.
Exactly. And so just from what we're saying right now is precisely what Greenwood did. They went to the banks and said, hey, I need a loan to buy a house, or I need a builder to buy my house. And they said no. And then they may say something like, why don't you go back and do it yourself? Or they may say to you, and they did this with Greenwood, when after the burning of the town, when the people started, they said, okay, you can rebuild, but they would give them supplies, limited amount of supplies, but they wouldn't give them help.
Right.
And so what Greenwood did in the beginning, they was like, okay, you're not going to give us any money. So they found some, an investor, or however, I don't remember how it started, but they began to loan the money out. And then they began to build one house, and then that house got finished. And then they all took those resources and built another house. They had money, resources, and everything. They just recycled it. But, going back to your point, MsPrissy, about the Black Business Association, I did try that route too. And I'm going to say this too. It requires a little bit of education to know how to work these systems.
It does.
And, we have people out there that will do a master class for you, but the master class is a day, an hour, or whatever, and you're not getting that information that you need. So
and it leads you to follow up with payment for the next class.
Right. And then you still don't know. So I went to a bank because, when I first started, I thought, okay, I'm going to go do the business banking, do all of the right things. But when I went to ask if they give business loans at this bank before I signed up with them, it was like they had ideas. Now, remember, I talked to a vice president of the bank, and the bank is going to come to me, but I can't remember it right now. And the vice president talked to me, and he says, yeah, we have all of this. We have, the Black women's, benefits for this. We have all of these benefits, right, for small business. And he said, I'm going to set you up with a banker. He set me up with a guy. We talked. And then I asked him all of these same questions I asked this man. And he told me, no, we don't have that. What kind of business do you have? I told him, and he says, well, how much money are you bringing in? So he said, I at least had to have like maybe something like $10 to $15, $20,000 in sales already before they would take that chance on giving me any kind of, business. So it's just like that job. You just get out of school, you qualify to do the job, but they won't hire you because you don't have experience. You don't have experience because nobody will hire you. You know what I mean? So
let's take your situation. Let's make you Asian.
Or any type of other anything, because I tell you, anytime we talk about money and in the neighborhood, I always bring up this. When I was growing up, there was a grocery store not too far from us. It was one of those mom and pop stores, right? It was, I don't remember who it was by. I think it was owned by a white family at first, and then they left. And then some either Palestinian or Iranian people bought it, right? So they bought that thing. And, at the time, they said they got 5 years of tax-free when they start a business. Now, again, these are people who were, migrated over here, and they got this benefit. But people who have lived here and their ancestors have built what is already there did not have the same thing. So it went from, so the 5 years was up. It was 5 brothers. That was the name of the store. So the 5 years ran out. Then it was 7 brothers, because now they done brought more family over here because of all of these benefits. They brought more family over here. Now they just started and transferred the business. Now it's not 5 brothers anymore. It's 7 brothers. Mm-hmm. Then 5 years later, down the street around the corner, we got 9 brothers. So we had 5 to 7. And then they kept it at 7. And then after that went out, then they opened up another store. So now this is a whole new business. Now you got 5, because now you can't keep recycling that because you don't want to get found out. But you're still doing the same thing.
But there's another thing that we need to look at. Okay. Every Black woman, Black men too, is into their hair. They are into their hair. Okay. We can go in and we can have a Black owned. In fact, we have a Black owned hair supply store, right? And then we have one that is owned. They're foreigners, so I don't want to say what nationality they are because I'm not certain, but I know they are foreigners, and we have that healthcare that hair care store. We would go and stand in line. I know this because it's one street over from me. We would go and stand in line for that foreigner shop to get this hair or that hair and that hair, where this Black-owned shop has the exact same hair at the exact same price, sometimes lower. But we're going to go over here. Here's the reason why. Because they can get bulk. The foreigners they are able to come in and get loans, business loans. Don't ask me how, but it seems that they can. And they can buy in bulk. Whereas with this Black owner, they can buy and they can have a certain number, but then eventually they're going to run out. And when they go to replenish, they got to sell this in order to replenish what it is that they got that time. So we are starting at a deficit as always.
That's true.
And I'll say the same thing with education too. When I right after 9/11, I found myself, without work. I went back to school, and I was I worked, and I went from making a decent salary to working for minimum wage, just so I can put money in my pocket, for my books or whatever. And I still had to pay for my tuition. I didn't qualify for financial aid until probably like my second year. I was able to get it. And it was almost seemed like you had to live in a shoebox before they gave you any type of assistance. Well, the part that I worked at the school, and it was the pre-admission testing that we did. And I cannot tell you how many people that came in here that were not American, that came in here with room and board, tuition paid for, and all they had to do was keep up a C average. Just a C average. Now me, that wasn't so true for us. So I mean, in everything we do, and I can't say really where the money was coming from. I just know that the few people that I talked to, they just said, oh yeah, everything is paid for. I'm here on a scholarship. All I have to do is keep a C average. And that just kind of broke it down. Then you have some people that come over here and they cheat their way through. Like I used to run the testing, the proctoring, the testing for nurses assistant and everything. And I won't say the nationalities, but those people were notorious for cheating. And then we put them in our hospitals. We send a Mayday over here to wherever, to get these nurses to come over here. But yet and still, you will not help with tuition for a nurse to come through our system. And even if you pay for the nurse's tuition and then let them work it off, you know what I mean? Let's just pay half or whatever, take some money out of their check to pay it off. We won't do that.
I just think that when they tell us, excuse me, MsPrissy, I'm sorry. Go ahead, MsPrissy. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was thinking, when they tell you pull yourself up by the bootstrap, well, you got to have a bootstrap in order to pull yourself up. You know, I just look at, MsPrissy brought this up before. We looked at the Black farmers. The Black farmers, they've been catching hell even before.
Oh, God, yes.
Right.
Even before now. White farmers can get relief. They can get a little bit of relief. They get a little bit of help. Black farmers can't get nothing. They don't even want to let them in the meeting.
Yeah.
They don't even want to let them in the meeting. So that's a problem in itself. So here's my question, ladies, and since we have a listening audience, what I'd like to do is give them some type of remedy, some type of plan on how we can go about this in just a little bit that we can do to give them some ideas on how they can, go about, doing this thing on their own. And I think the first thing we have to think about is, how do we keep our money in our Black dollars in this the circle of life for that Black dollar? How do we keep it Black?
I'm gonna bring up this point, but I do want to go back because I have something to say that I think is relevant.
Okay.
And today's generation and how things work today, the most powerful thing still is word of mouth for resources. If you deal with the Black business that you're happy with, and whatever the product is, and you think your friends, your family, or someone might be interested in, you need to talk that Black business up. You need to share. Don't be mum. Share the resources. Share the name of the business, what they have. Let it be known. And that's for all of us, whatever it is, Just like you said, Iris, I brought up the Black farmers, but I also brought up from when you said you buy your meat to come deliver, and I asked you, well, are you doing that?
We was talking about Ferguson at that time when you brought that up.
I asked you, was it one of the Black distributors? You was like, you wasn't sure, but you didn't think so. And that's important. We have to share those that information.
That information. I
And
agree.
that information keeps traveling to other, you might tell me something. I might share it with my aunt or with my church sisters. We got to keep it traveling, and reciprocate that back and forth. I think that's one way to do it. If it's a business that, today is about influence. One thing my mother taught me when I was young was, because I wanted a pair of Jordache or something that was name brand that was popular. She was like, why would I spend my money on somebody else's name and it's not your own name? She says, that person's name more important than your name? No, it's not,
But we put value on that, though.
Mm-hmm.
We put value on that. We get out here, and some of these kids feel like you bring them a pair of brown boots.
Mm-hmm.
Those ain't Timberlands. I ain't wearing them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want that. I can't wear that out in public. Why not? You know what? Why not?
And it could be
And 9 times out of 10, you can't even see.
We gotta start with the
same name.
We got to start with the children.
Yes.
Right now, do you know that a number of children that come out of high school don't even know how to balance a checkbook? Hell, some of them don't even know what a checkbook is.
Mm-hmm.
They think that debit card.
Neither.
They think that debit card is unlimited.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know how to balance it. They don't know how to keep up.
Some older ones think that too. Sometimes
that's true. That's true. But I think what we need to start is we need to start with our children that we have control over.
Yeah.
We need to start teaching them the value of that black dollar. We also need to start teaching them the value of their self-worth.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because they do think that Louis Vuitton and Polo and Chanel bags is better than Lord, now this is a point in case. I can't even name you any black designers right now that does bags. I know Actively Back because I actively follow them. So I know what they do. I know their material and things like that because I follow them. But I'm not a purse buyer. But wait, when I was though, it was Dooney. It was Dooney and Burke's purses.
I'm glad my mother taught me that because I've never been into name buying products. Like if it's nice, it looks nice, and it looked like a Coach, but it's not a Coach.
As Black people, we feel like it's more important for us to show face to
and Iris, status.
If you have this and you have that, you got status.
Yeah.
Right? Out there. And we tend to put so much importance on that.
Yes.
Instead of just imagine a world where you earn your black dollars. And then you take your black dollars, and I am going to go and take my black dollar and I'm going to deposit it with black investors, or I'm going to deposit it with a black financial institution. Mm-hmm. That black financial institution, in turn, is going to be able to give my neighbor a loan of that money that I put in there so that my neighbor can now build a grocery store. Mm-hmm. Right? So now we have the black financial institution, and then we have the grocery store. Right? And so let's say now the grocery store can take that black dollar and they can pay black farmers for meats or black farmers for vegetables. Right? Now they may have to go outside to get the milk and the cheese and the bread and all of that stuff, but your core things that you need for your meal is those meats and those veggies, right? And then you're now selling those meats and veggies back to the Black family. It's that circle of life for that Black dollar. Now, this is what happens. Oh, big bank sees that such and such bank, the Bank of Cayjarwes, is doing really, really well over there. They got like $1 billion flowing through that bank. We got to go and buy them.
Mm-hmm. I was waiting yet to see if you would bring that up.
We got to go and buy them out because they got that 1.3 to $2 trillion door open. And we need to go and buy them out. And they will go and they will make that offer. Let me take it all the way through midnight. Hold on, give me 1 second. They would go and make that offer to that Black-owned business, right? And we see those dollars.
There you go.
We see those dollars flowing. Now, we don't care no more about the grocery store that we done help thing, or the people that live in that community, or those farmers that this is going to now impact, because we done got the flow of the dollars coming down to us. We're gonna go for those dollars, right? And let's say that you don't. Let's say that Black bank do not go along with whoever's trying to buy them out. What are they gonna do next? They're gonna try to take you over.
Yes.
Either by a scandal, because they always want to put a scandal on us one way or another.
Yes.
You go place somebody in your organization to make sure that we do get that
or
scandal.
Get somebody from your past. Coach somebody from your past.
So we can, and what do? This is another thing we do. I mean, I know I said, just hear me out. When we go and we hire people to work for us, we're gonna go find a white accountant. And we're gonna put that white accountant in charge of what?
Black dollar.
Money.
The Black dollar. The Black dollar. Mm-hmm. And how many times have organizations that's been very, very, very successful? I can name you one right now that's going through this. Very, very, very successful. And then all of a sudden, they find themselves going into bankruptcy. Mm-hmm. Because they put the control of their assets in the hands of people who are trying to destroy you.
Yeah, I was going to say you answered most of the things that I was going to say about when you put your money in it. I'll just preference, like, say with the bank. I would love and I would feel honored to put my money in a Black bank. I would be honored, and I think today I would still open up an account with a Black bank, but I don't know that I would put all my eggs in one basket for the very reason that you said, is because unfortunately it's not safe. You know what I'm saying? Well, really none of the banks are safe right now, especially with everything that's going on in politics. Like, we don't have the Federal Reserve anymore. It's non-existent. So, but I mean, those are things like, I remember like some years ago when I was, started like really, really working in my career, and I looked for a Black bank. I couldn't find one, but that was my whole goal, was to go with the Black bank, and I was going to put like my nest egg in there. You know what I'm saying? And I think today I would still do that. I would still do that if I found one. In fact, when I started the business, that was my goal, was to find a Black bank in order to, start my business account with. You know what I mean? But the other thing too is that with the banks, you're hesitant about doing that because, your money is your money. And you don't want to be losing it. Just like if the bank folds, or if they did sell, would your money be accounted for? You know what I mean? Like, if they infiltrated, like people have infiltrated some of these, like Fifth Third, I think a couple of times they have gone through where the own workers have embezzled the money from accounts. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The one Black bank that I know and remember and I grew up with was was in Harlem.
Yep.
It's Carver's.
Yep.
What is it called now? Carver's Bank.
Yeah.
That bank has been around for I don't know how long.
Yeah.
It have around 59, so I think like way before. I know it's way before me, but I think there's black banks out there. We just have to research. Like I was just
We
typing.
have, and maybe MsPrissy, I'm thinking along the same lines as you. Maybe we need to do some research on black financial institutions, not just banking, but we need to learn how to invest as well. We need to learn how to invest, and we need to teach that to our children.
Yes.
But we had Consolidated Bank and Trust here. And Consolidated Bank and Trust they was doing their thing. They was very prominent. They had branches where you could easily get to them, because a lot of times we can't afford to have but one branch, and then you have to have transportation to get to them and everything like that. But Consolidated Bank here in Richmond, Virginia was doing very, very well until someone came in and say, okay, we're gonna buy you out. We're gonna put you underneath our umbrella, and yes, we're gonna guarantee that there's going to be black loans available for your small black businesses. We're gonna make sure that home ownership loans are going to be available there for the black community. And as soon as they put you underneath of their umbrella, all of that disappears. All of that disappears.
I also want to say too, and it's unfortunate too, like not so much black banks, but black banks too, but particularly black products, like Johnson & Johnson for years. Let's go back to the hair stuff. You know what I'm saying? Because there is no way in this day and time that we should not have that market cornered. That should be ours.
Here's one for you. Essence. Right now, have y'all really looked into what's happened to Essence?
Yeah.
Another one, remember BET?
I was getting ready to say, and I saw Bob Johnson, and he said they came with the money, and he was like, so BET, even though they show black shows and Tyler Perry,
they're owned by, I think they're under Paramount, aren't they? Are they under Paramount?
They're under somebody, but it ain't black owned.
They're not black owned.
But the thing is that I say when they take over these companies, they still keep the name. So if you are one that name shops and you know that Johnson & Johnson, or I'm just using that as an example.
Right.
But if you know that has been black all the time, when you go in there, it's not without thought that you buy it. Yeah. But yet and still, there's a lot of brands out here, and I think there was a video I saw about it, and they listed a lot of hair care products or beauty products that we knew as black name. They still keep the name, but they're not black.
They're not black owned anymore. But let me say this though, guys, and I think this is an important point. We really have to be more conscious of our community. We have to be more conscious about what's out there and what's available to us, through us. Let me say it again. What's available to us, through us. Because MsPrissy had a very valid point. We're standing here and we're talking about black banks, and right now we can't name one.
Mm-hmm.
So that's
I do remember that Carver Bank. That's probably the only one I know of, but the banks.
A couple of them in New York. Well, I grew up in New York, especially in Harlem.
You know what this brings me in mind to? Do y'all remember the movie Risky Business?
Yes, I love
Halle Berry and
yes.
What was the comedian's name? I can't think of his name right now. Robert something. But they had the Bank of Harlem.
Yes.
And it was three brothers.
Mm-hmm.
The Holland brothers.
The Holland brothers. Yeah.
Why can't that become a reality?
It used to be, because those Holland brothers were that was
real. It was based on Carver's Bank.
Yeah. but let's talk about. We got to go back to the beginning because Midnight said it. Midnight said it. Mindset. So let me take you through an experience I had. Not calling no names, no nothing, just an experience I had. When I first started making movies, I wanted to bring together a group of authors to do a collaboration, not a collaboration, but put together do a collaborative effort in order to bring our stories to film. And we said, okay, listen, we've done 2 series. We had did the Heart series and Heart series 1 and Heart series 2. And I said, okay, I was able to do this out of pocket for this amount of money. If we can bring 10 people together and we do, each one of us put X amount of dollars in the bucket and we start using our own work, right? Our own books, and bring those books to film. To life. You know, but we can't do all of them at the same time. Right. But then the argument became, who goes first? Who goes first? And why I got to be that? And why I got to be that? And the idea is that you have to see what's happening in the market at that time. And that's what you need to go with, because that will be at least get you to a point where you can at least hopefully make your money back that you put into it, and then be able to reinvest it into the next book, and then the next book, and then the next book. We have a crab in the barrel type mentality. I can't let you get up there first. You know, I want to go first, so I got to pull you down in order for me to go first. If we don't change our mindset from, this is another one, how you have some of us that think they're better than the others because they worked in the house, and you know their hands didn't have calluses and stuff on it and cuts on it and stuff, because you work out in the field. And so we got that mentality even going now. When you go with, I'm just gonna use mine. This is Iris speaking, not speaking for nobody else on this. Same mentality. Oh, I'm published. You're self-published. That's that same mentality. And we have to get to a point where we are able to support us no matter which one we are.
That's why talking about books and that's why I like the theme of raw, because I love the lifting while climbing. I mean, but it's not a book event, it's an experience, but it's primarily around books. But in life, that statement should hold true. You know what I mean?
We don't want to lift while climbing. We want to keep climbing and kicking. We want to kick you down further. If you behind me on that ladder.
Yeah. Look, you're gonna break the steps as you go up.
Right. Ladies, I just want to say this. I think this information might be good. I don't know if they still do, but I think so. So my first business was back then they call it desktop publishing, but it's like graphic design and everything.
Right.
And I wrote poetry, and I used to do custom greeting cards for any situations.
Right.
And I also volunteered, at a non-for-profit organization. So here's the thing, because I was volunteering at that non-for-profit organization, consistently and everything, they had those type of organizations. If you're a volunteer, they have access to grants that will help you to get your business started. Right? You just have to know who to talk to or whatever. But if you've been volunteering somewhere for like over a year and you work with this organization using your skill set or whatever, you need to find out some of those resources there too. Because they taught me how to write a grant. even though I don't remember none of it now. And I was able
MsPrissy, that's really great because not my house, but it was this organization called Housing Opportunities Made Equal. I wrote about it in one of my books, where it was the backdrop in one of my stories. And I love what they did because they kind of would come in and they will take families and who wanted to own a home, but they didn't necessarily have the money to be able to, have that home built.
It's like Habitat of Humanity. It's like Habitat of Humanity. That's what they do.
Yeah, housing opportunity. And they would come in and they would bring communities together, like contractors and things like that. And then just everyday people would come together and they would build that house. They would build that house. And what people don't understand is at that time, and maybe really now too, home ownership or land ownership is really the key.
Land for sure.
For sure. But even home ownership, like my home allowed me to put my son through Hampton University. When I bought this house, my son was in elementary school, and I built the equity. So when it came time for him to go to school, I was able to get that equity out of the house to get him through school. I did the same thing with Champaign, right? To get them through school.
Right.
And that gave them an upper hand because now their lives, listen, their bank accounts look a whole lot better than my bank account. You don't
have to worry about those student loans and all that.
No, student loans. I mean, they had student loans because, listen, when you go to Hampton, it ain't no,
and that's ridiculous. That is,
the cost of education is crazy. So we did, but we didn't have to do 100,000 and 200,000, in student loans. So when you came out, you owned a house. You had a debt that was just like you owned a house.
Yeah. And that's still why some of these kids are still living with their parents too, because they can't afford,
right. Because in my last year of school, my financial aid ran out. And I had that 1.5 semester. And I had just been sick. I had just had the stroke and everything. And when that what is a guidance counselor, a financial aid counselor, advisor, whatever, I was like, well, then, I have all this going on, and right now I can't deal with that, so I might have to drop out. And he was like, but you did all of this. I was like, it's nothing else I can tell you. I can't stress myself out right now. Right. Do you know, within 2 days, he found a scholarship that allowed me to finish and get my degree.
Look at that.
And, I think that when we, find those challenging situations, right, I think we have to go beyond the surface of resources,
But now I have a question for you guys, because we're getting ready to run out of time.
Yeah, I was going to say
that. Because
we knew we wasn't going to be able to complete this in one session.
I want to do a call to action.
Okay.
Right. So Midnight, if it's one thing that you can tell our listeners that they should do, what would that one thing be?
And this is one thing that I am going to do. Let's go back to the Black farmers. Like, instead of going to the grocery stores and buying our food, because of the fact that it's going to be a little bit safer for us, right? I would say, yes, it's going to be a little bit safer for us, and you're going to be a lot better off for your families are. So tell your families, instead of those ones, even if you are one that is on a fixed income, okay? I would encourage you to find a Black farmer, and they have the Black Index.
Yeah, I posted that.
So you
Yep.
can go there and find them. I found many of them. My areas, I'm in Chicagoland area. So I looked at Indiana, Michigan, and in Illinois.
Mm-hmm.
You can also go outside there because these people ship. Find
Ship.
out what the things are. They can ship and everything. So the one thing I would tell you to do if you don't do anything else is that make a point of going on these websites and buying your vegetables and your meats for the month
From
or
a black
twice a
farmer.
month or whatever from a black farmer. And then that way you'll have some produce that you know it should be good, better than what you're getting in the store, I can tell you. The stores are not safe anymore.
Okay.
Mhm.
So that is
I
one
gotta
thing
give
I would
you,
do.
I gotta give you some applause for that, Midnight, because that's a good one. All right, Miss Prissy, what you got?
Well, I already mentioned it before. If you're doing business with a black business, or you know of a black business that has a good product that other people can benefit from, share the information. You know, don't be stingy. Don't try to keep it to yourself, because you're not going to. Your money alone is not going to allow that business to grow.
Right.
And that's the key
But
is
your money plus
right.
another.
But it's also benefits in sharing because a lot of times they will give you a discount on your next order
Exactly.
if you share. So there's benefits in sharing.
Yes. So share of good black businesses that you are aware of or do business with.
Miss Prissy, I gotta give you applause for that, because that's a big one. You got to get applause for that. You know, I have two ways that I want to go, and I just don't know which one is going to be more beneficial. So I'm gonna go with this. Take your children and teach them the importance of keeping the black dollar circulating in the black circle of life. Teach yourself how to keep the black dollar circulating in the circle of life, this circle of that dollar's life. We cannot cut out everything. There's certain things Amazon is just going to give you a better deal on. You might not be able to afford to do this, and you need this right now. There's going to be some things that, you know, those larger suppliers are going to be able to do. But make one change.
Yeah.
Just find one, either a black banker, a black grocery store, a black farmer, whether it's meats or vegetables, but find a black designer. Go out there and find just one. Start with just one, where you can make sure that that black dollar's lifespan within the black community stretches.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that would start making a difference. So I don't know how many listening ears we have out there. We've gotten some great call to actions of what we can do. I think these conversations are important. I think that we talk with Shay Bohannon, who handles Raw, the Raw event, and Brown Book series. And she's gonna, at some point, she's gonna carry on this conversation and take it maybe into a deeper level, how we can look at just one industry and see if maybe we can, you know, concentrate on that one industry and see if we can start changing that. When we did the boycott, and I think it's still going on Targets, there's a reason. Just because Targets carry one black product or this black product and things of that nature, that money is still going into the corporation that owns Target. And that corporation has decided that they can take our black dollar, 1.3 to $2 trillion, and bring it into their system, but they cannot bring us into their system. They have decided to go with their diversity, equity, and inclusion programs, where if you don't want us, you don't want our dollars either.
And that goes for any business, though, for sure. Like
I said Targets, but there's
many businesses out there
that you need to look at. Where are there? why are you letting them use your dollars against you?
Right.
You know,
Right. You know,
But you have to ask yourself too, do you believe that your black dollars have power? We know it does, but do you believe? Because I think that's part of the problem right there.
Yeah.
You know,
because Targets did show us. I mean, look at how their numbers dropped. Right. It did show us that we stopped buying there, and their stock dropped. You know,
but you know what? This is something I did, and we're gonna make this. I'm gonna make this point, and then we're gonna
we're over.
But I, for the longest time, I did not know this at the time that I was doing this, but for the longest time, I never made a whole lot of money, but what I did made, I sacrificed to make it, right? So when I go to some place, whether it's black or white, if you can't give me the respect when I'm spending my money, then you can keep your product and I'm walking out the door. I moved out here. There are certain businesses that I forbid, and that is this day, and I'm talking 28 years in the making. There are some companies or businesses that are around my neighborhood. I went to 1 or 2 times and they were very nasty. They did not give me the respect, and I forbid my entire family not to shop there. And that is today. We're talking 20 plus years, and they cannot go to those stores.
Respect yourself enough not to allow other people, other racial communities to disrespect you.
Yeah.
Respect yourself enough not to allow them to disrespect you or your hardworking dollars.
Mm-hmm.
Your hardworking dollars. I know we are way over what we're supposed to be at, but it's an important conversation, and I hope that it's going to get you to a point where you're going to go out and do a little research, and possibly go out and start your own conversation, see what you can do,
and share tips and tricks that we can all do.
We really all just have to network.
Exactly.
For this to work, we have to network with each other about businesses, the black dollar, and how we want it, where we want it to go to build up. And we really need to be doing that right now.
Yeah, right now. And that's why I said the black farmer, because I told my kids too. I said, get your money together. Let's go buy these, these boxes of this meat and these vegetables, and then also too, that, Iris, we talked about this like last year about the benefits, the therapy in gardening. You know what I mean? So
I didn't want to go there.
We're going too far. We're going too far.
We can go a whole nother hour if we get into that.
Okay, well, I'm just saying there's
maybe we should talk about that, and maybe we can get some people to start.
Just be self-sufficient.
MsPrissy, but we'll get them just started in your house with certain things.
I live in Wild Kingdom.
Spend your money on, but I do want to say this. This podcast right here. You're gonna find it on Spotify and Apple and all that, but I'm gonna upload this one to YouTube. And if you guys are out there and you have any information on Black-owned banks, Black-owned farmers that do supply meats or vegetables,
insurance,
the one in California, I love that. Black-owned hair care products. We spend money.
Truly Black-owned hair care products.
Black-owned, not Black-owned by name, and then somebody else owns it in the background, but true Black-owned products. If you have any of that, please put it down in the comment section on this, because this is something I think we need to do for our own survival. Everything that's happening around us, our neighborhood always gets it 10 times worse than other communities get it.
Sure.
And we need to prepare for that. Okay, Midnight.
Okay. All right. So we're going to go around. We're going to start again with MsPrissy. MsPrissy, tell our listening audience how they can connect with you and your business.
I I have two businesses.
No,
I have
girl.
Cayjarwes Publishing and Style Setters Entertainment. They kind of coincide. One is music and one is more digital creations and stuff like that. And I could be reached at my website at stylesettersentertainment.com, or you could find me on social media platforms.
Okay.
Thank you, MsPrissy.
And Miss Iris.
My name is Iris, and best place to find me is on my website, irisbolling.com. I want to use the rest of my time to share. MsPrissy said we need to do this, so I want to share. I recently released the book. It's called Leopard. I turned to Cayjarwes in order to produce the video trailer for that, and they did an excellent job. So I want to spread the word out there to other authors or other businesses of any type that's looking to get trailers or some type of advertisement out there for your product. Turn to Cayjarwes Publishing. They did an excellent job. There you go.
Very good, very good. And I am Midnight Ace Book Bar. I am a creative assistant for any authors. If you need help building up your book, the plot, or even if you need some editing or some ARC reading or beta reading, I am that. Also, if you need crafts or swag for your business, I am that person for you as well. I can be reached at my website, which is www.midnightacebookbar.com. Just hit me up. And if you're something custom, we can talk about what I can do for you. And also on social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn.
And I already told you about Midnight Ace journal planner that she put together for me that came from MidnightAce Custom Creations. Yes, it did.
Yep, that's right. And there is going to be an addition to my business, not only the crafts, but I just recently took a journey into journal making. So there's going to be a separate portion on my website just for paper products. So stay tuned for that. And we all appreciate you guys having time for us. We appreciate your support. Again, let us know if you have any businesses out there that we can also support. We will welcome that. So stay tuned for the next part of this, because again, we're going to come back and we're going to have some guests, or either we're going to be visiting on some other platforms talking about this, because this is important.
Yes.
And we need to break it down. We just covered the surface today. But we do want to deep dive into how we can become self-sufficient. So bye-bye for now, everyone.
Bye, folks.
Well, there you go.
Yep.
Oh, well, there you go.
There you go.
Midnight, we need some music.
I'm coming there. We have to say our goodbyes. But anyway, take care. Bye-bye for now.